What's up, nerds? So, after watching this latest episode of Star Trek Discovery, I just have to say a couple of things about it. First thing I want to say is something happened in this episode at the beginning and like in the middle or whatnot that really pissed me off. And they address it at the end of the episode, but by then I was already mad and I don't care. And it just goes to show that the writer's room really doesn't understand Star Trek fans. I do not think that they are Star Trek fans, not one freaking bit. I think that they are just these social justice writers, and they write crap, and now they're trying to change things around because they want to bring us back and everything. And me, I don't hate watch this because I don't go into it being like it's going to be shit, but they don't let me down in that sense because it always ends up being shit. I also think that this show is not, and I've said this before, and I stick to it, especially now. I don't think that this show is not a science fiction allegory adventure show, okay? It is about people and their feelings and getting over their hurt feelings and trauma and all that shit. And they're doing the stuff that they do in this episode specifically is they try to lift up characters we don't give a shit about, and they don't lift up characters they don't even have the same bridge crew every season or every episode, which I think is a problem. When you look at all the past Star Trek seasons, they had the same bridge crew, and that bridge crew was the people that we invested in. We didn't invest in a character like Book. We didn't invest in that character. You know, I understand Burnham, we have to kind of invest in her, and now they're trying to do the number 2, investing in him, but it's a little too late, fuckers. It's a little too late. And I think that Discovery is missing that sense of family that we got, for instance, in Generation and all the other Star Treks. We got that sense of family with the bridge crew. The bridge crew was the family of the show. Granted, there might be a character in there that comes along that we could connect to for a hot minute, but not more than, a couple of episodes. I think that this Star Trek also, I think that Star Trek in general has a maturity to it that this show lacks. I think that the writers do not understand Star Trek, and they don't understand Star Trek fans because they're not Star Trek fans. They're just these social justice warriors writing crap that we don't want to see. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just crazy. And I also think that Star Trek has a humanity to it that this show lacks. And again, it goes back to the writers of this show do not understand what made Star Trek Star Trek. They are writing a show. If they would have written this show as just a sci-fi show off somewhere else, I would have been fine with it. I would have been like, okay, it's not Star Trek, but they've written their own little show, their own little science fiction show. But they put the Star Trek logo on it, so we have to treat it as such. And this episode was just not only boring and just so not, anything interesting. It also, like I said before, pissed me off. And I'll go into that when it happens during the breakdown. I'm sorry I muddled on here. I ranted a little bit for this show, but this episode, or this starting of this video. But it just really, I don't know, man. I'm glad that this show is ending. I really am. All right, let me get to this breakdown, and I'll try to get through the breakdown really quick so I don't take up too much more of your time. Okay, so here we go. Holder attempts to treat Locke, who was injured in the Enterprise confrontation a couple episodes ago, but is unfamiliar with Breen physiology. Okay, of course, they find Maul and Locke, and they've sent out a signal because Locke is dying because he got hurt, and they don't know anything about the Breen because the Breen are all secretive and everything and very isolationist. And so they get a little pod to put him in, and they're trying to heal him. They put him in like a little freezer mode or whatnot, which I'm like, that's great. He's like a base turkey or whatnot. And they're trying to heal him up. Merc Rune, the leader of the Breen faction, he arrives at the Federation headquarters to retrieve Locke, who reveals that he is Rune's nephew and a direct descendant of the former Breen Emperor, and Rune wishes to use Locke to legitimize his own claim to the throne, but we already knew that. Okay, so here's what's going on. The Breen are at war because all these little different leader dudes, these warlords, are trying to gain, because the Emperor has died or whatnot, and they're trying to become the leader of the Breen Empire. And so Locke is Rune's, I think that's his name. I do not care about pronunciation. If you guys want to get pissed off about it, go suck a dick. I do not. You can suck my dick. Then I mean that literally because I like getting my dick sucked. So Locke is Rune's nephew. And we saw that in like, what was it, like 2 or 3 episodes ago. And so he wants to be the leader, the emperor. But he needs Locke to do it. Because he needs that legitimacy through the bloodline, and which I think is fine. So the Breen, they're on their way in their big ship, which looks like shit in my opinion, but they're on their way and they're gonna claim him so they can claim the throne. Rayner reveals his past as the survivor of a Breen occupation that killed his entire family. And Burnham, she uses this information to convince Rune that taking Locke would cause further conflict with other Breen factions. So Rayner here, I just want to say real quick, this is the part that pissed me off, okay? So Rayner, he comes in, they're in their little war council. And he comes in, sorry, I need a little libation. I'm about to get testy with this one. So they're all sitting there talking about how they're going to handle the Breen. And of course, the big pussies of the group, like the Vulcan lady, she's all like, we must handle this with diplomacy and understanding. And they're all like, and then Locke before was all like, we do not think like humans do. And Rayner, he says stuff like, we need to do this, so it looks like we're ready to fight back, that we're strong and we're ready to take them on when they get here. And Burnham, this stupid bitch, has the nerve to be all like, we need to have cooler heads. Bitch, I remember season 1, episode 1, when you were like, attack the Klingons because they only understand strength. Attack them now. Hit first, ask questions later. They will respect us if we hit them first. And you got put in prison for that shit because you started a war. Now, granted, I don't think she was wrong, but because you tried to start a war and they had to put you in the brig for that shit. And you're going to sit here and talk to him about cooler heads need to prevail. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck right out of here. I hope they push you out an airlock next episode. Because I'm sorry, you don't get to sit here and be like, I changed my mind. No, you were right in the first episode or second episode, whatever it was. He's right now. As soon as they showed up, they should have been like, boom, 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 boom. And that's how it should have gone down. But nah. So then, and she does it twice, and then at the end of the episode, and I'll mention it now, she does say like, hey, she does mention that it did happen to her with the Klingon thing during episode 1 and 2. But I'm all like, nah, you don't get to sit here, and then that's the thing. They're trying to course correct with all this shit, with having Rayner be all like in that one episode, be like, oh, well, you don't get in trouble for your mistakes or whatever he said. I can't remember exactly what he said. Like, he called her out for her past, wrongdoings. Which I just want to say, speaking of wrongdoings, did Burnham get in trouble for breaking the Prime Directive last episode? Nope. Because that's the thing when it comes to this show. Rules for thee, not for me. And Burnham is getting away with a buttload of shit. And it's really fucking frustrating for me personally watching this shit. Because I'm all like, do you writers, do you not sit and talk about episode to episode what happened in the last episode and try to, you have to address that shit? No, you don't. There's no consequences for your actions in this show. And it's just really, I'm really glad this show is ending, because it's very frustrating for me as a watcher and a Star Trek fan to watch these people fucking ruin everything. And that's what they do. They ruin everything. And I hope these writers never get another job. I hope that once this is done, I really hope Kurtzman stops messing with Star Trek, because he's just straight up stupid. He's like a big dum-dum. Last thing I'll say about that is just that Rayner, his planet was overtaken by the Breen, and they tried to fight back, but the Breen were vicious, and his whole family died. He's the only one that survived. And they used Locke to negotiate, because they're like, Locke, we already did it with some other Praetor or whatever, some Primarch or whatever. We've already negotiated with her, and she's willing to give us what we want for Locke. So you better do what we want, motherfucker. Locke, he totally overdoses in a failed attempt to help Maul escape custody, and the Breen medics help him at Burnham's request and everything. But Locke dies, totally dies, and Rune declares war on the Federation. Okay, so Locke and Maul, they come up with this dumb plan, and Locke overdoses on some green ooze, right? And it goes badly, and they need a Breen medic. to help out, but Rune has to come with. And so Locke dies because he overdosed, because they're stupid. Everything was fine until these two dummies decided to get involved. Locke and Maul are just two big morons, just doing their own thing. And it just goes to show they're just so stupid. They're all so stupid. Anyways, and I loved how Maul took down all these Federation, these men, didn't get hit, not once. She just took down these big burly men because she's, a strong, independent woman. Super annoying. So Locke dies, good. And Rune declares war. He's just like, you guys killed my nephew. I'm taking his body with me. And then Maul reveals to him their search for the progenerator's technology, which she hopes can be used to resurrect Locke. And Rune takes her with him, putting Discovery in a race with the Breen to find the technology. Maul, she wants to use the progenitor's technology to, as soon as they said, not only can it create life, it can bring life back. And I'm all like, great. So I know this is what's going to happen. Maul is, because it's all going to be rainbows and sunshine when all this is said and done. Locke is going to be brought back to life by the end of this season from the progenitor's technology. And so is the planet that Book grew up on that got destroyed last season when his whole planet got destroyed. It's gonna be brought back to life. And then the progenitor's technology is gonna be either, hidden or destroyed or something, because they're gonna be like, this is too powerful to let anybody have. And I'm like, okay, great. Then why did we waste our time with it? Yeah, I could have told you that before you got involved. So Maul, she reveals that they're looking for the technology, and that's what's her ticket. She's like, you take me with you, and because I need to be near Locke for some dumb reason. It's so stupid. And she's like, and I'll help you find the technology. So now they have to compete with the whole Breen Empire, not just Locke and Maul. Stamets, Book, Tilly, Adria, and engineer Jet Reno, they determined that the next clue points to the Eternal Gallery and Archive in the Badlands region of space. So this whole episode, they're trying to find this book, because this book has the answer to the next piece of the puzzle is to get the progenitor's technology, right? And so Adria, who they are lifting up in this episode, because Tilly's all like, you need to ask for more responsibility. I'm like, maybe she just needs to go and live on Trill like I thought she was, so we don't have to see her ugly face anymore. And Tilly, you can go back to the academy any minute now. Like when she was like, I gotta go back to the academy, my cadets need me. I'm like, they need you, please go back, I don't want you here. Book needs to go off somewhere else, because I've had enough of his nonsense. And Jet Reno, even though I like what's her face, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. I do like her. I think she's funny. She's not good in this show. I don't like her this season. They're using her in bad ways. It's just not my cup of tea with her. But anyways, it's fine. So you find out it's in this Eternal Gallery and Archive. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. This sounds like Thor Love and Thunder territory, if you ask me. And it's in the Badlands. I'm kind of interested in seeing the Badlands, but that's the only thing. I'm like, other than that, I just don't care. So that's the end of the episode, you guys. And like I said before, this lacks family, humanity, maturity. It's so bad. I don't know it's like Sunday morning cartoon bullshit. I'm not interested in this show. I think it's stupid, and I really don't like it. I just don't like it. The writers of this show really have no talent. They have no talent. And if I'm telling you right now, I've read fan fiction that's better than this show, and that's saying something. I think the writers need to get people that really understand Star Trek and really love Star Trek, because I'm telling you, if you sit down with just one, like Robert Meyer Burnett, if you ever watch his YouTube channel, he loves Star Trek and he gets Star Trek. Get somebody like him that you can go to and you can say, hey, we want to do this, this, and this. Would that line up with things? And he could tell you. I have a friend who, like, we do this thing every time where I'll try to be like, I'll try to bring up an episode. I'll be like, hey, what season of what episode was, Next Generation, where it was like where they was it Generation? It might have been Voyager. And see, and this is what I would ask him, where they get stuck in a machine, but there's like a court jester, and he won't let him out because then everybody that went in died of fear, and he'll be like, Star Trek Voyager season 2, episode 1, or Generation, whatever it is. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I'll just be like, I always say the same thing. I'm like, why do you know this? And he'll be like, I don't know why you don't know this. And I'm like, all right, case in point, I guess. Touche, motherfucker. But this show, like I said before, it's not a science fiction allegorical adventure, TV show. It's like I said before, it's basically, it's kind of like a soap opera. And I'm all like, you guys really could have done something good here, and you didn't. You really mucked it up, like hardcore. All right, those are my thoughts. I'm sorry, I've already taken up too much of your time, you guys, but tell me what you guys thought about this episode. If you liked it, just please scroll left or swipe left or whatever it is that you do, because I don't want to hear, and don't do the thing where if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's Star Trek. How can I not watch Star Trek? I've watched it since I can't remember. I think I was in the 4th grade. Deep Space Nine was where I found Star Trek. And then I went back and watched Star Trek, and I love it. And I got my wife to like it, and she'd never seen it before. And I just I remember when I was watching it, and I was on Voyager, and I'm sorry, I'm going to do the last story and then I'll leave you guys alone. But I was watching Voyager, and I was just watching it because I was like, I just want to watch it, for fun time. I don't want to cover anything. And I was just watching Star Trek, season by season and everything. And she was watching, because I was watching on my laptop in bed, which don't watch it in bed. And I remember I was on the last 4 episodes, right? And I watched them while she wasn't home, and I finished Voyager, and then I had started Enterprise. And she's just all like, well, what happened with the Borg? She's like, you watched it without me? And I was like, I didn't know you were watching it. She's like, you were sitting next to me. Of course I was watching it. And I'm all like, okay, let's go watch it. I'll watch the 4 episodes again. I loved it. So, and I just think that when you do Star Trek correctly, you can make anybody love it. And this show is not doing that, because it's bad. It's just bad. All right, tell me what you guys thought about this episode. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on my next Star Trek Discovery breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. Live long and prosper. Bye.